Hey Battletech fans, this is Travis and we're back with another little custom card build for this ongoing project of mine. Just trying to give a little revival for the Battletech TCG and bring in a lot of the cards that didn't get enough attention or quality attention in the original release of the game. And then eventually my goal, once I get this project to a good point, which honestly it's kind of at right now, I want to essentially build a website with all these cards kind of listed there and allow you guys to be able to print them at home and kind of use them as proxies and play with them so that you can get some of those iconic mechs on the table and have a little bit more fun with that old card game. But in today's episode, we are going to be doing a card build for one of the iconic mechs, one of the unseen that did not get into the original release of the game due to legal issues, and I have an amazing piece of art that we're going to be using for this card. And so let's go ahead and dive in, and we can kind of take you through this custom card build of the Shadow Hawk 2H. All right, so here it is. So I found this online. This is an old Bandai Dougram model kit, and this is an amazing picture. The artist Naochika Morishita, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, has done a lot of really cool Dougram art, and I've used his Griffin for sure for one of my cards. I think I shared that with my patrons. That might be a patron exclusive, but that's an amazing piece of art. But this Shadow Hawk is a very cool one, as you can see. And so what we did was we just I got a little bit of help from the Art of Battletech on Twitter, and we kind of cleared out some of the obviously the things in the way of the picture, and then kind of cleaned it up a little bit so that it could go onto the card. But I'll show you that once we get there. Before we do, let's go ahead and check out the stats and see what exactly it is that we are going to be translating to the card for this mech. All right, so I pulled up the Shadow Hawk 2H in Solaris Skunkworks, and so we can check out the stats. So we got a 55-ton mech with 5.8. That's going to put it in the moderate speed bracket. 3 jump, and then the heat sinks are going to be 12. That'll be important to know as well, so we know if we need to overheat or not. The armor, we have 9.5 tons of armor, so that 9.5 plus that 5.5 is going to give us pretty good armor coverage. And then I always look at that center torso to decide what I'm going to do for the armor structure split. Generally anything above 2 or between 20 and 29 is going to be a 2 armor, and so we'll take that into the card once we get there. For the equipment, we have the autocannon 5 on that left torso, then the LRM 5, the SRM 2, and the medium laser. All right, so definitely the jack of all trades, this Shadow Hawk 2H. So let's go ahead and kind of pull up the Excel spreadsheet that I used to kind of compile all this and calculate it out for what's going to go on the card. All right, so I'll go ahead and share kind of all my Shadow Hawk builds here. You can get a little preview of what's going to come once I actually kind of release these to the public. But for the Shadow Hawk H, what we're focusing on here, we plugged in that 5.5 internal structure, that 9.5 external armor. We put the 2 for the armor value, and then the balance goes into that 6. All right, and so the way we determined that was we added up these two together for the tonnage, got 15 tons. We divide that by 2, round up, that's going to give us 8, and then so we got that 2-6 split. All right, and then for the weapons, we calculated the heat out for these, and if we go back to the Solaris Skunkworks real quick, we can look at the heat generated by each of these weapons. So we have a autocannon 5 is 1 heat, so LRM 5 is 2, and the SRM 2 is 2, so that's 5 total, plus the medium laser is 3. So we're at 8 total heat, plus the jump is going to bring us up to 11. All right, so walk, run, or jump, the most heat we're going to develop in a turn is going to be 11, and that's going to fall within that 12, which is going to give us a little special attention here. So there's going to be no overheat. All that weapon damage is going to go into the primary attack, and the jump, we're going to go ahead and be able to give it that cool jump ability, all right, which is a little custom keyword that I've done. Basically indicates a mech that can jump without incurring any additional heat. All right, so it can fire all its weapons, it can jump, no heat issues there. And as a result, it won't have to get that -1 attack penalty. All right, so it's gonna be just a +1 initiative for those mechs that can jump, have that cool jump, and then obviously they can be targeted by any cards, either positive or negative, that are applicable for mechs with a jump ability. So then plugging that back into the spreadsheets, all right, we have that LRM5. So on average, 3 of those 5 missiles are gonna hit. We have the medium laser, 5 damage, so that's 8, plus the SRM2 on average. Generally on average, 1.5, 2 is gonna hit on that, but we're gonna go ahead with 2. So we're at 8, 9, 10 damage there, and then the auto cannon 5 brings us up to 15 damage, all right? And so we're at 15. The value that we assign to that is a multiples of 7, all right? So that's gonna justify an attack value of 2, and then we can go ahead and start plugging this into the card. And here we go, all right? So I'm super excited, not only because this art and this card is cool, it's an unseen, it wasn't the original, but if you've been following these videos, you can see that there's a couple different things on this card, all right? And so my goal with this project, like I indicated at the beginning of this video, is to get all these cards. I think I'm up over 260, 270 cards now that I've made for this CCG. And so my goal is to get all of those onto a website so that anybody who's interested in playing the CCG at home, they can navigate to that website, they can see all these cards. I want a section there for feedback, all right? Because ultimately, I would love to have these play tests against each other, you know, certainly with regard to the costing, to make sure that I get the costing right, that something is not super overpowered versus anything else. People going to give feedback for the abilities of certainly of the commands and missions, that people can give input in terms of if they like that ability, if I need to tweak it, if there's any typos I can find in these. I'm going to put up a lot of mission and command cards that have just the art on them, and then get feedback from the community in terms of what you would like that mission to be based on that art, or that command to be based on that art. A lot of great characters, you know, that we're going to be revisiting and kind of creating custom cards for. So really trying to kind of get this project to the point where I can launch, and there's a lot of stuff already there, but the community and anybody interested can really kind of interact with this and kind of be a part of the process of making this custom card set. I do have a concern, obviously, about copyright. I don't want people trying to kind of take these and pass them off as real cards, you know, and sell them. And so I've been waiting to kind of do that publication until I can add a couple features to make it very obvious that these are not official cards, all right? And the biggest idea of that has been this white border, all right? So when this prints out, go ahead, and I'll put this like background there so you can kind of see the card. So when it prints out, this will be a white border card, all right? So there are no white border cards, obviously, in the official set. So very easy visually to see that this is not an official card because it is that white border. But they didn't want to stop there. There were other cool things that I wanted to add. If you've been following along for these videos, you have seen kind of that rarity symbol. I was using the rarity symbol from Michael Todd's work, where he worked with Justin King and Justin Case to get his own unseen custom versions. And that little rarity symbol that they used was a kind of stylized KTK for King, Case, and Todd, and now that has been updated. Thanks a lot to Justin Case for working with me to both get this white border and to get this little icon with the Renegade HPG symbol. We can see that there. Man, it looks good. I'm super excited about that. And then if you look a little more, you can see an R watermark, all right, for Renegade, all right? And so a lot of cool stuff. We're actually gonna upscale that a little bit because the watermarks on the release cards were a lot bigger. But that is actually the last component I need before I kind of start sending these to print. I know I owe my patrons some custom Natasha Kerensky cards, and I'm actually going to kind of send a little special surprise to those patrons when I send out that Captain Natasha Kerensky, which we talked about when I built it with Gustav and Mark in that video. But all the custom cards are going to have, you know, that custom rarity symbol, which is going to change depending on it. This is a common. You know, we got white for uncommon. We have purple for rare. And then we have kind of a goldish for rare plus or ultra rare. Yeah, so a lot of cool stuff there. A lot of customizations. So something to look forward to. Definitely consider, if you're interested in this, you want some of these cards to hold in person and to play on the deck, and you want basically a print from a high quality image file, hop onto Patreon for Renegade HPG, sign up, and let me know that you are there for CCG swag, and I'll make sure that you kind of get it as I make those up for those patrons. But back to the Shadow Hawk. All right, so we've got this incredible art. We cleaned it up a little bit, so we don't have any of those kind of that clear case and any of the kind of branding in there. make sure that we are credited Naochika for this amazing art. Super cool. I love the perspective. I love any kind of art that isn't just kind of mech shooting, that there's an atmosphere to it. All right, and the Dougram guys tend to do a really good job with that. But for the stats itself, you know, we got the name in there. We got the air icons, which is another customizations that I've done. So basically, when you're playing your cards, those cards are kind of be suited for specific eras. All right, so that if you want to play in Succession Wars, you don't have to worry about somebody tossing a Timberwolf down on the table and wiping you out, because those later cards are going to be more powerful for the same cost. But the Shadow Hawk was developed in the Star League and was continued to develop and available to everybody up until the Dark Age. The Shadow Hawk is still out on the field in the Dark Age, but it's not universally available. All right, so I had to take that off the card. And then we got all the weapons loadout marked there. And then we have our stats. We have our 2/6. We have our 2 attack. We have that cool jump, and that is our mech. All right, so Shadow Hawk, you know, how does it compare? I had been in my previous videos, I've been doing comparisons with other cards in the game to make sure that they weren't underpowered or overpowered relative to that. Once I got to the point where I had over 100 of my own custom mechs, that became less important, because I realized that when I go and I start playing the game again at home, I'm going to be using exclusively my custom mechs with the custom art. And so as long as I'm consistent in terms of my costing, then I'm not too concerned about whether it's going to skew high or skew low based on the card game. But when I do publicize this for the community, I will have basically 2 options. So we'll have a revised costing and a classic costing option for you guys to kind of print out and use as your proxies. And for those classic, we'll use whatever the kind of old calculation would have demanded for these cards based on the stats. And then for the custom, it'll be obviously what you're seeing here. All right, and a lot of stuff I've done for my custom is I've completely changed how a lot of the big mechs are built and costed, so that they're a lot more accessible in the game, so you can actually see Timberwolves and Direwolves and Atlases on the table, and it'll be a strategically wise decision to do that. And ideally, if I plan it well, the game can kind of ramp up. So you're seeing a lot of lights, you know, in the first round or two, some mediums later, and then as the game gets to its later stages, that's when, you know, those heavy and assault mechs will be more accessible. All right, as opposed to in the previous iteration where it made a lot more sense to just put out more mediums, and maybe 1 or 2 heavies over the course of the game. All right, I want to get away from that, because I want kind of my revival set of this game to be kind of more thematic, you know, so that you guys can enjoy it. Now, all that being said, I do want to share what the cost would have come out had I used the classic method. So let's go ahead and hop over to that spreadsheet that I got courtesy of Michael Cohen, administrator for the BattleTech CCG Facebook page. So if you're finding this video, if you're interested in the CCG, definitely connect with that group. All right, that is basically the community for the game that's still kind of up and running and vibrant these days. But this is the spreadsheet that Michael came up with. I think it was John Ivers. Yeah, if you can see up at the very top here, John Ivers did a lot of the original research for this, and Michael put it into this really well done, expansive spreadsheet. But we have the speed there at moderate, and then the armor 2/6, 2 attack, no extra flare other than the jump down here at the bottom. The cost for that comes out to 2.8. And then for me, whenever I'm adding in that M buyout, I usually use that to bring the cost down by 1. And so that brings me down to a 2 for that cost, all right, because it is a 3M buyout for this mech. And generally how I determine what the 3 is, or the M value is just how many weapon systems are used by that mech that require munitions. So that's it. That is the Shadow Hawk SHD-2H. For those that are observant, you'll see that we have the Griffin up here and we have the Wolverine up there. All right, those will be kind of Patreon exclusives. So if you want to check out what that Griffin looks like, you can hop over to Patreon now, and that Wolverine will be shared eventually with my patrons. But in the meantime, here's the Shadow Hawk. Kind of keep an eye out for when I do eventually kind of launch this project publicly. If there's anyone watching this that is a web designer or web developer, then you want to help out with that project, definitely reach out to me. Let me know. I could use that help, so I'm not kind of stumbling through that process alone. But thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate kind of all the support. The channel has really exploded in the last week. My podcast with Tex really drew a lot of wonderful attention from the BattleTech community. And so welcome to all of you who are finding that channel for the first time. I really appreciate it. And hopefully some of you enjoy the CCG as much as you enjoy kind of Tex's videos, and you can enjoy videos like this as well. But there's more wonderful podcasts coming up. Alex Iglesias drops tomorrow. And then we have Bill Keith coming up next month. Tons of fun stuff, tons of fun content for you guys that are following along and watching and supporting the channel. If you're not subscribed already, definitely do that now. Give this video a thumbs up. Throw your comments down below. Let me know what you think of the card. Let me know what you think about those awesome customizations, white border, rarity icon, watermark symbol. I'm very excited, obviously, because it's my project, is kind of see that out, but hopefully you guys kind of agree that it is cool as hell. But that's it. This is Travis signing off for Renegade HPG, custom card build, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Bye.